Pig, Spider Pig, does whatever a Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out, he is a Spider Pig. Spider Pig, does whatever a Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out, he is a Spider Pig. Spider Pig, does whatever a spider...
Should be a good one.
샤링강.あの量の印を数秒で、しかも完璧に真似てやがる。
何なの？これって忍術なの？
おかしい。どういうことだ？術が発動したのはどうしてだ？もしやこいつ。
Squidward tentacles. The man, the myth, the meme. People have often had the impression that the character Squidward from the show SpongeBob SquarePants is arrogant and unskilled, no matter what artistic endeavors he takes on, whether that be the clarinet, dancing, or painting and sculpture. He is famously unsuccessful in the show, and because of this, he is often shown as tired and cynical, a direct contrast to SpongeBob, who is often energetic and optimistic. This contrast is a big part of the show, and of course it had to be maintained, so Squidward would not be gaining any hint of success anytime soon. But I want to analyze Squidward's abilities as a traditional artist anyway, as best as I can within cartoon logic, which means some of my tangents might get pretty far out there, and I'll probably read into things a bit much for some people's tastes, so just keep that in mind before you watch the rest of this video. So what makes a good artist? Well, that's a tough question, and certainly varies from person to person, but for the purposes of this video, I want to mostly focus on technical skill. I'm going to be focusing on a few episodes, mostly from earlier seasons, which showcase Squidward's abilities in painting, sculpture, and any other physical medium. Then maybe we can determine if Squidward really is as bad of an artist as the show seems to present. First, I want to start with the episode Artist Unknown, from Season 2, Episode 18, which showcases a lot of Squidward's abilities, or rather, his lack thereof. Or does it? The episode, in summary, tries to present SpongeBob as an amazing artist and Squidward as a mediocre, egotistical, and close-minded one. Now, I know this episode is mostly just a story of a self-absorbed, cynical person versus an optimistic, selfless person, and is not meant to be taken literally. But what if we did? Now, throughout the episode, SpongeBob pretty much has the powers of a god. He makes a perfect circle by going through the process of constructing a human face backwards. He makes a mosaic from randomly ripped up pieces of paper, and he sculpts a human figure by tapping a pillar of marble once. All the while, Squidward fails miserably at everything he does, from drawing a basic circle to trying to make a single scratch in a pillar of marble. But is it fair to attribute this to a lack of skill, or more because SpongeBob's supernatural artistic powers are intimidating and frustrating to the point he can't perform normally? Between this, Squidward says that SpongeBob needs to learn the rules of art. Also, people have been harassing me with this image. This is slander. I do not sound like Squidward. I do not sound like Squidward. But he's kind of right. I mean, I think what he means is fundamentals, which are not really rules, but guidelines and skills that people use to make art, such as color theory, perspective, form, anatomy, line, and so on. Clearly, SpongeBob already knows these things and more. So if this video was titled, "Is Squidward a better artist than SpongeBob?" then the answer would be no. But compared to someone who isn't a god, is he? Well, let's continue. Eventually, Squidward degrades SpongeBob out of jealousy, and SpongeBob leaves, thinking he has failed his instructor. Later on, when an art collector visits Squidward's class, he shows him this small sculpture, which, I mean, it's interesting in a surreal way. If the scale was increased drastically, it would look like your average contemporary sculpture, instead of something you'd find in a gift shop. And then he shows him the famous Bold and Brash, which demonstrates a solid attempt at abstraction and has a pleasing color scheme. What I find most amusing about this piece is that it's become a bit of a meme on the internet. So much so that several artists have tried replicating it on YouTube, with impressive results. What I found even more intriguing was before this video, I didn't really know what brash meant until I found the full definition. Self-assertive in a rude, noisy, or overbearing way. Does that sound like a familiar personality type? That opens up something strange. Why would Squidward call what is clearly a stylized self-portrait of himself confident and arrogant? Is Squidward more self-aware than we realize? Does his narcissism also come with secret self-loathing? Or did the writers just need a word that rhymed with trash? Probably the latter, but the art collector famously rejects these pieces.
More like belongs in the trash!
And is attracted to SpongeBob's sculpture. So I guess he just has an affinity for Greek-looking statues, meaning he might have just not been interested in Squidward's more abstract art and wanted more classical sculpture, although he is pretty rude about it. Yes, I understand the irony of that statement on this channel. The art collector then demands more of SpongeBob's art after Squidward accidentally decapitates it, which means he tries to get SpongeBob back. But when SpongeBob returns, instead of using his free, passionate style of work, SpongeBob tries to follow what Squidward taught him. Remember in the beginning when Squidward made that crummy circle? Well, when he legitimately tries to get SpongeBob to do the task, he makes a far better circle. Sure, it looks more like an oval, but that may be because of the angle of the chalkboard. Interesting. SpongeBob keeps mentioning this book, which I assume is full of fundamentals, although it could be full of Squidward's weird art manifesto for all we know. Whatever the case, he treats the book like law, and does not deviate from it. And look at this key choice of words.
What about the head and the erasing and the...
I don't know, Squidward. That stuff's not in the book.
Well, of course, origami, mosaics, and drawing a face backwards are not going to be in a book about drawing fundamentals, if we assume that's what it is. So his creativity is effectively sapped. Eventually, Squidward accidentally creates a perfect replica of the statue of David in a fit of rage, except for the seashell part. This means that Squidward must have seen the statue somewhere before, and his subconscious mind created a replica. This is all part of one of the many messages in the episode, that passion and not just strict adherence to rules can create great art. Which means that while SpongeBob made this willingly, Squidward made this accidentally, which means his technical abilities might be more godlike than SpongeBob's, at least subconsciously. It can also be seen in the first minute of Season 1, Episode 23, Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, where Squidward proclaims, quote, "I have conquered all artistic media." And from the looks of it, indeed he has. From a custom neon sign, to pottery, to what looks like tile, and even a head sculpture. Do you know how long it would take to master like 7 different crafts like this? The impressiveness of the wax sculpture he makes is also not something to understate either. It's almost an exact replica, besides all the angles. It even fools SpongeBob and Patrick, although I don't know how much that counts for since SpongeBob also fell for this, and Patrick's, well, Patrick. Okay, here's where things start to go off the rails. SpongeBob and the rest of the Bikini Bottom appear to live in some kind of subspace dimension that exists both in and out of reality. We can see that the cartoony fish and environment are often contrasted with live-action footage or realistic stills, meaning there's 2 sides to this world, the one that is realistic and the one that is cartoony. When SpongeBob creates his artwork in Artist Unknown, he mostly does work based on realistic human figures, the face and the statue. That's kind of odd, isn't it? Wouldn't he draw fish people since that's what he's around most of the time? I think most people would agree that it's easier to draw SpongeBob than it is to draw a full human figure. But what if to their world it's the reverse? What if humans are easier to comprehend to the cartoony mind, much like the realistic mind can comprehend cartoons easier? This explains why SpongeBob can draw this with ease, but when he tries to draw himself, as shown in Season 3, Episode 4, it's not nearly as accurate. And in the same episode, the origami and mosaic are close to the same quality. Patrick does an even worse job at drawing Squidward. That would make Squidward's wax sculpture of himself even more impressive by this notion. Okay, back to the more grounded-ish arguments. I know there's a few other episodes after Season 3 that showcase some more of Squidward's abilities, but let's face it, those suck. Okay, there is one episode I will highlight, because it was one of the last episodes I saw before I lost interest in the show altogether. In Season 7, Episode 22, The Masterpiece, Squidward creates this haunting rock sculpture of Mr. Krabs, one of the few pieces from Mr. Tentacles which isn't of himself. This contemporary sculpture is massive and showcases another case of abstraction, but instead of the smooth, bulbous forms of Bold and Brash, we are treated to harsh angles and spikes, with this gaping cavern in the stomach. This is probably a representation of how Squidward views his boss, who, as we all know, treats his employees questionably. This top-heavy, enormous thing shows a considerable amount of technical skill, and is personally very intriguing to me. It seems that Squidward's only mistake is that he keeps making self-portraits. Is it even fair to call that a mistake? Some of Vincent van Gogh's most famous paintings are self-portraits. What about Frida Kahlo? Sure, it can be seen as narcissistic that most of his art is portraits of himself, but that doesn't diminish the technical value. Yeah, he can be rude and cynical and egotistical, but hey man, good work is good work. I think one of the reasons we have this impression of Squidward is that since his clarinet is just plain bad, and his dancing is just weird, we associate any of his other artistic endeavors with that same standard of quality. The point is, Squidward has been cheated. He has been cheated by the Bikini Bottom and by us. Squidward's work has been criminally underrated and underappreciated. You belong in the trash, Mr. Art Collector. You have spat on one of the greatest artistic minds of the century. But perhaps Squidward is unsuccessful because of something else. His behavior. That does seem to be the point in some of these episodes, that his mean-spirited, egotistical nature is the only thing in the way of his own success. When the show once stated, "No one wants to be a Squidward," they're not talking about his skills necessarily, but his attitude. The self-portraits aren't just self-portraits, they are a representation of his narcissism. And while they're far from technically poor, they are a turnoff to the people, because of what they represent. What Squidward is missing is humility, which SpongeBob has ample supply of. And if Squidward never makes such changes, he'll stay stuck in this fast food purgatory. At the end of the day, the only thing in the way of Squidward's success is himself. Anyway, my name is Solar Sands, and goodbye.
Hit back one more time, right? Cause y'all see Yokin. Y'all don't know what Yokin is? That's that other link that I be dropping. Cause I got an affiliate marketing with these guys too.
Naruto, look, the longer you fight, the more your friend's gonna die. All I'm saying is just give me your tail beast and we can end this shit. Boy, fuck you and your motherfucking plans, bro. I'm about to end this war, beat y'all ass, and then become the Hokage. And then I'm gonna bring peace to the ninja world. You mean your plan to basically subjugate the world because you have the 9 tails power along with 6 paths power? You mean to tell me you have that ability? I mean, I don't like the way you're saying it like that. Exactly. See, on paper, it sounds very fucked up, doesn't it? Man, fuck you. But nah, bro, come on. Come catch this smoke, because your ass ain't taking shit, Obito. All right, come on, bro. What the fuck? The fuck? Obito, Naruto, what's going on, B? Yo, Madara, what's going on, bro? Madara, how did you get here? Oh, I ran and I jumped over to this hole. No, I mean, last time I saw you, the 5 Kage were about to fight you. So how the hell did you get over here so fast? The who? The 5 Kage. You remember the ragtag group of motherfuckers you was just 5 Kage? Oh, yeah. But yeah, them. The leaders? Yeah, them. Oh, I forgot he was doing that. Damn, they probably dead. Bro, what happened to my friends, bro? Oh, well, long story short. And Tsunade is split in half. Tsunade is split in half? Madara, you... What the fuck? That was your homeboy's granddaughter. Yeah, I really don't know if she was gonna make it. She was a trooper. Yeah. She got like high and mighty on me talking about she about to beat my ass. I have to shut that shit down real quick. Now I gotta beat your ass. God damn it. Then I jumped each and every one of them with 5 Susanoo from every wood clone that I manifested. 25 wood clones. Just fucking them all up. Oh, God, you should have seen it. But nah, I'm gonna need that 9 tails above you, bro.
Squilliam Fancy Son? Squilliam Fancy Son! Squilliam Fancy Son!
Squilliam Fancy Son III is Squidward's rival from high school band class.
So, I just took my private yacht across my private lake to my private heliport.
He's more wealthy, popular, and talented than Squidward, and he always rubs it in his face.
That's right. I'm living your dreams, Squidward. Oh, just succeeding in everything you failed in.
But I intend to prove that he's a fraud, using his wealth to make himself seem more popular and talented than he actually is. He goes to ridiculously extreme and expensive lengths to humiliate Squidward and show his superiority, and I'm gonna prove it. SpongeBob is one of my favorite shows from my childhood. Even going back now and rewatching the old ones, it still holds up. You might think, it's just a kid's show, there's no continuity, there's nothing worth theorizing about, but the show constantly brings back characters and references to previous episodes, and if you look closely, you can connect the dots and find some very interesting stories. And today, I'm going to prove that Squilliam Fancyson III is a manipulative fraud. Evidence number 1, the pet hospital. We first meet Squilliam in Season 2, Episode 15, Band Geeks. The episode opens with Squidward playing the clarinet and getting a knock on the door.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
Immediately after, Squidward gets a call from Squilliam.
Hello, you've reached the house of unrecognized talent. Please start after the...
Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to, old chum.
I believe that not only was Squilliam spying on Squidward to know when he was playing his clarinet, but he also hired the doctor to come and embarrass Squidward.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street. Pet hospital down the street.
We have never seen a pet hospital in Bikini Bottom. We've only ever seen just the regular Bikini Bottom hospital. We've seen this purple doctorfish before, but once again, he's never worked at a pet hospital. We've only ever seen him at the regular general hospital.
Well, Mr. Squarepants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment?
Then there's this green fish behind him, and we've only ever seen him as one of the many identical paramedics that work at the Bikini Bottom Hospital. We even see him at the end of the episode to take Squilliam away after fainting. So it is very likely that Squilliam hired these two and told them to pretend like they're from a pet hospital just to humiliate Squidward. But this is just the start of Squilliam's elaborate lies. Evidence number 2, the Bubble Bowl. In the same episode, Squilliam also says,
I'm the leader of a big fancy band now, and we're supposed to play the Bubble Bowl next week. The problem is, I'm busy next week and can't make it, so I was hoping you and your band could cover for us.
But we've never seen Squilliam's band before, and despite claiming he's too busy to make it to the Bubble Bowl, he still shows up at the end to watch Squidward's band. So both his excuse and probably his band were made up to pressure Squidward into humiliating himself at the Bubble Bowl. Evidence number 3, Squilliam's friends. In Season 3, Episode 8, Squilliam returns. Squidward leaves for work and conveniently bumps into Squilliam and all of his fancy friends, despite Squilliam not seeming like the kind of guy that would come near the Krusty Krab. He and his friends make fun of Squidward for working as a cashier.
Hold it! Don't tell me! You're a cashier!
Don't lie. Lying always makes it worse.
But I believe that this encounter was planned out by Squilliam in advance, and he hired all of those people to pretend to be his friends. Take a look at Squilliam's friends. They're all nicely dressed, you kind of get the sense that they're fancy, high-status members of Bikini Bottom, but they aren't. This is more like what the fancy rich people in Bikini Bottom look like. These are just some regular Bikini Bottom citizens. Most of them usually don't even wear nice clothes like this. And most of them are regulars at the Krusty Krab and would already know Squidward as the cashier.
My daddy doesn't have enough slime!
These are not the type of people Squilliam would hang out with. I mean, why would Squilliam be hanging out with one of Pearl's teenage friends? At the end of the episode, Squilliam even admits to his whole life being fake.
I made everything up about my life. I have no yachts, jets, or anything. I was only trying to impress you.
And then, of course, he quickly says he's just kidding.
Is that true?
Of course not! I'm filthy stinking rich!
But was he kidding? I mean, obviously he's rich, but is there a nugget of truth in there? Evidence number 4, the statue. In Season 7, Episode 6, Squidward has to pick up trash for community service, and Squilliam once again conveniently bumps into him and reveals he's cleaned up so much trash that the city actually built a statue of him.
Maybe if you clean up Bikini Bottom, they'll build a statue of you. Oh wait! They've already built one. Of me! I cleaned up all of Bikini Bottom in only 1 week.
I believe that once again, this encounter was staged by Squilliam, and he actually paid to get that statue built. As Squilliam tells Squidward about the statue, a female fish admires it and says,
Bless you, Squilliam Fancyson. Bless you.
But if you remember, this is one of those friends Squilliam likely paid, making her whole comment feel very fake. By the end of the episode, Squilliam's statue gets destroyed. A police officer approaches and they have this exchange.
This is your statue?
It was.
Squilliam admits that it's his statue, not the city's. And why else would the officer give him specifically a ticket if it was city property? Evidence number 5, the concert. In Season 6, Episode 17, Squidward watches Squilliam play the clarinet at a big fancy concert. He receives a standing ovation, causing Squidward to leave angrily. But I believe this entire concert is a scam. Not only has the audience been paid to cheer, but Squilliam never even touches his instrument. Once again, many of the audience members were part of Squilliam's quote-unquote friends, but we also never actually see Squilliam play the clarinet. The episode opens right after he's finished his performance with the audience cheering, and one member of the audience says,
"He's such a great musician. He doesn't even have to touch an instrument to be brilliant."
Maybe the real reason Squidward leaves so angrily is because the audience cheered for Squilliam even though he never even touched his clarinet. Maybe Squilliam is just as bad as Squidward at the clarinet and he's trying to hide it. Squilliam has gone to some pretty extreme lengths just to humiliate Squidward, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what he does next. Evidence number 6. The Music College. In the same episode, after Squidward leaves the concert, he's approached by the headmistress of the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college.
Aren't you the esteemed Squilliam Fancyson III, who we all came here to see perform tonight?
She mistakes him for Squilliam and offers him a position as a professor. Squidward pretends to be Squilliam and teaches a class, only for the police to burst in and arrest him, all while he's being filmed on live TV. And I believe that this is Squilliam's most elaborate and most expensive scheme to destroy Squidward both publicly and legally. This encounter where Squidward gets offered a job is already suspiciously convenient, but listen closely to their exchange.
I'm Squilliam Fancyson.
But didn't you just say a minute ago that your name was Squidward Q Tentacles?
It is. No, I mean, no, I didn't.
Well, that's a relief. I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
What kind of moron would go to their own enemy's music recital? How does she know that Squidward and Squilliam are enemies? If she knew who Squidward was, then why didn't she recognize him? Why would she mistake him for Squilliam? This feels way too much like she was hired by Squilliam to set a trap for Squidward. And if that's not enough, the headmistress's associate is literally just a guy from the paid audience wearing a disguise. He just threw on some glasses to seem smart. Squilliam knew that Squidward couldn't resist the opportunity to teach a music class, even if it meant breaking the law.
My very own music class.
Then we get to the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college, and right off the bat, there's something very fishy about this place. The building itself is very green and grimy and has a very cheap metal look. Nothing about this says prestigious except for the big sign on top, which feels like the only new thing about this building. I think there is a very good chance that Squilliam just bought some old warehouse, then stuck a sign and some paint on it to disguise it as a college. I mean, look at these other schools in Bikini Bottom. They all have a very nice structure and a paint job, but this prestigious music college looks like a dumpster. Going into the classroom, not only does it have another one of Squilliam's friends, but if this is such a prestigious college, how did SpongeBob and Patrick get in here?
Would you two numbskulls mind telling me what you're doing in music class anyway?
Sure. Patrick's New Year's resolution was to learn to play an instrument.
They say it was their New Year's resolution to take a music class, but you'd think it'd be harder for them to get into an esteemed music school if they just decided to go to it on a whim. Seems like they're just letting in anyone to sell this ruse. Then, both the police, Squilliam and the headmistress, and a live news broadcast show up at the same time to arrest Squidward for impersonating Squilliam. If the extremely coincidental fact that all of these people suddenly showed up at the same time isn't enough for you to believe that Squilliam set it all up, I've got something that's going to blow your mind. Squilliam literally has the police working for him.
Squidward Q Tentacles, I'm placing you under arrest for impersonating a genius.
If that doesn't sound like he's been paid off, I don't know what does. The lengths that Squilliam goes to humiliate Squidward are insane. He literally builds statues and entire buildings just to make Squidward feel inferior. But why? Why would anyone go so far to embarrass an old high school band classmate? What happened between them? What could have caused this extreme level of dedication? Well, unfortunately, we never really get much information on their past. I've spent hours reading through the SpongeBob Wikipedia and looking at old episodes, and there really just isn't any clues that would explain their weird relationship. I guess we can't solve everything, but either way, that's my theory. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Wait a second. Season 6, Episode 5, Slide Whistle Stooges. Just a normal episode where SpongeBob and Patrick annoy Squidward, nothing really out of the ordinary. Except I have one question about this episode. Why does Squidward have Squilliam's robe? That is clearly not the purple robe he usually wears. That is Squilliam Fancyson III's robe. Why would Squidward have this? Unless they were more than just classmates. Could they have once been dating? No way. That's not possible. There's no evidence to support that. Right?
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
No, it can't be.
I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
It's been right in front of us this whole time.
Our sources last saw Evil harassing teenagers up at Makeout Reef.
Makeout Reef. Good times, good times.
Voted most likely to suck eggs in high school.
Holy shit!
What you don't understand about me, bro. I'm really the GOAT. Like, I'm the GOAT out here, but you don't want these problems. I'm not even gonna talk to you, bro. Put your hands up. This is what I mean. You're scared. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I don't talk. I fight. Put your hands up. You're not even a little scared of me? Bruh, I'm gonna tell you one more time to put your hands up, or I'm gonna cave your chest through your back. Put your hands up. I'm gonna give you the one-on-one that you want so bad, bruh. Whose man's it? No, I'm no bitch. I mean, we can get it going. Hey, matter of fact, you ever heard about the gates, bro? Yeah, I know about the 8 gates. Why? Nah, Heaven's Gates. Cause yeah, that's where I'm about to send your ass. Yeah. Oh, he's I'm gonna go to the side. Fuck it, bro. I'm no bitch. Let's go.
Now, tragically obvious. That reasoning with the bitch is not gonna work, Tom. You have to hit her.
I'm an assistant district attorney, for Christ's sake.
Tom, you have to get past this. It's okay, Paget. Really? See, Paget, she just gave you permission.
Stop!
See that? Which has no problem hitting you.
All right, lady. Okay, look out.
You're definitely allowed by law to hit her now, Tom. It's self-defense.
Okay?
Yes, Abu, you are in rare form.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks.